Good morning. It's Thursday morning here in Cypress, Texas. So, I get up this morning and read my scriptures. And the interesting thing is, I'm in chapter 33 of Genesis and Psalms and chapter 2 of Matthew. And so these chapters are, in Genesis, this is where, Jacob's and Esau are reconnecting, getting to see Esau's getting to see Jacob's family, Rachel and Leah and all the kids and the concubines and the maid servant kids, a whole lot of them, right? And it got me thinking about, in the law, the oldest son is supposed to receive the inheritance, but that don't happen. Reuben don't get it because Reuben had sex with one of his father's concubines, and Jacob found out about it, and because of that, he, didn't get the inheritance. And then same thing with we keep going, through the Bible, that Cain didn't receive the inheritance. It was Seth got the inheritance. Okay, and it keeps perpetuating. David's older brothers didn't get, Jesse's oldest sons didn't get the blessing, inheritance. It was David, and so what is this? Same thing. Aslab didn't get the inheritance. It was or his another brother. It was Solomon, right? So what is this saying? Whoa. What it's saying is God saying, yeah, I know what the law says, but I'm the law. And the ones that are doing, that are doing what I tell them to do, the ones that are honoring me the best, they're going to get it. Right? And what's that talking about? It's talking about the Jews. All right? And I'll tell you what's happened here, right? And I can only track it right now to Caiaphas. Caiaphas was the high priest when, that was high priest when Christ was walking the earth, right? He was the illegitimate high priest. He wasn't in the line of Aaron. Okay, he was put in by the Romans. And what was going on here? Well, the Romans were perpetuating the faith of Baal. Okay, that's what they did, this great army, right? And that they were out there conquering and making when they conquer, worship the faith of Baal. And they were in the process of doing this with the Jews. And now this is really interesting. See, this is what Muhammad caught wind of. Okay, Muhammad was a Catholic, and Constantine, had that, if you can't beat him, join him. That, I'm sure that's where that came from, right? He worshipped Apollo, right? But his mom's like, you're worshiping the sun, which you're right, but you need to worship the Son of God, which was Jesus. All right. And so he's like, And then, the whole infrastructure of Rome was full of Christians because they knew how to read, right? It would have been very disruptive to take them out of their positions because they were making things work. His whole army was probably Christian, and so he had this premonition to put a cross on their shields, right? And they all knew they had to win this war, even though they were fighting a greater force in their enemy. They had more drive because they knew if the side of the enemy won, them and their whole family would be killed because they're Christians. So when Constantine acknowledged the faith and gave them, it empowered them, they won the battle, right? And then Constantine was the one that structured the Bible to be written the way it's written, okay, and left some things out, okay, and they left a lot of things out, so we don't get it all when we're reading the Bible, okay. And I'm learning about the Hebrew interpretation of the word, okay, which totally flips everything. Oh yeah, last night I got somebody, it was all about the rapture. The rapture's never mentioned in the Bible, and they go to 2 Thessalonians and that's where it says that we're going to go up with Christ. The true believers are going to go up with Christ, okay. But then it all depends what your interpretation. That's the New King James Version, or the King James Version that says this is not all the interpretation. So what I caught wind of reading the scriptures is heaven's here. We just need to make it that way, okay. And then my first time I go to church with the Voice of Healing, the apostle's saying heaven is in us. It's just we have to have less of us, less of our ego, more of God, more of Christ, okay. And that's through reading the correct interpretation of the word, okay. And that's what Christ was come to do, was to put in place the true lineage, right? The correct high priest, right? The correct interpretation of the word, right? That's what he was all about, okay. In Revelations, the angels that are coming down from heaven's your mind, right? When we accomplish that, where there's less of us, more of God in us. We are those angels that defeat the enemy. And we don't defeat the enemy by the sword, okay? We defeat the enemy by teaching the correct interpretation of the word. Okay, in Revelations, if you go by the letter of the word, the text, right, it takes you down the path of destruction, right? But when you get the true meaning, it takes you down a whole other path of love, joy, and gratitude. Okay, and it's all different. The more people we get to understand this, the better life is going to be, right? It'll divert this path of destruction that we're on, but we have to get after it. Okay, we have to be talking to more people, right, and getting more people to understand this, right? And I'm just learning enough to get people interested, right? Even though they may believe different, like they believe the rapture, right? And which I had that experience. I didn't argue, but I promoted the heck out of the apostle, and they're coming to church on Sunday. All right. And, I'm incorporated that in my talk with people, everybody, every day. All right. Have a great Thursday.